Well, a hotel quarantine security guard in WA has been diagnosed with COVID-19, sending millions in the state into a 5-day lockdown.
Let's get today's take on this with Night and Honey's Shelley Horton and 2GB's Ben Fordham. Shelley, to you first. It's all happened so fast, hasn't it? You know,
Yeah.
and I do feel for everybody in WA and Perth who are watching now. The authorities have acted quickly on this. How do you feel about it?
I always get stressed out when the border's shut. I always do. And I think that I still disagree with the fact that we are not having national rules on this. However, as we have learnt, one COVID case can turn into hundreds of COVID cases. I think it's smart that they acted quickly. I think that we all have to understand this is pretty much going to be our 2021 and it'll be open, shut, even when the vaccine comes out. And we need to remember that we are so fortunate that we have one case in Australia at the moment, whereas we look at the UK and there's 1,000 dying every single day.
Yeah. Are we surprised, though, by the response from Mark McGowan, you know, the toughest premier when it comes to border lockdowns?
No, I mean, they've been very, very lucky in WA. I was with a group of people at a housewarming yesterday afternoon, and half of them are Perth-born, working on the East Coast. And it's the same old story. The kids hate the border policies because they want to go home, but mum and dad home in WA cheer on Mark McGowan because they say he's keeping us safe. Same thing with Anastasia Palaszczuk in Queensland. But I think Mark McGowan would probably be regretting some of his tough language that he directed towards New South Wales and other states, where he was being critical of Gladys Berejiklian and saying, oh, she's trying to play whack-a-mole, you know, every time it comes up. Just crush it, just kill it. Well, as he's now discovered, easier said than done. But now's not the time to be making life difficult for people in WA because it's a tough time. They're locked up for 5 days.
A lot of people asking questions again about the use of security guards in hotel quarantine.
Why aren't we paying them enough so they don't have to get a second job? That's the thing for me, that it came up in Adelaide, it came up in Victoria, it's come up again here.
And make sure that they're qualified enough, so therefore they're paid more, so they don't have to have a second job.
But that's, again, easier said than done. There are people sitting here on this couch who have second jobs, and if your employer all of a sudden said, and I can see the whites of certain people's eyes popping up going, hang on a moment, your boss said, oh no, I'll give you an extra $5,000, you don't do that other job. It's not as easy as that.
Then do we get our army to do it? Do we get our police to do it?
Your family, your future, and you can't just say to people, it's a restraint of trade to say to people, oh no, you don't do your other job.
But then you're jeopardising our whole health of the state. You know, like this.
But what's the alternative?
We're in a time of crisis. This isn't a normal thing.
Yeah.
If that happened, you'd have to take your boss's advice and the advice of the health people of the state.
Yeah, well, in the real world, if you walk away from a job, a lot of the time you don't get it back. So if you're working hard, you're making ends meet, and you've got a couple of jobs, I don't know if that's the right answer either.
So meantime, this is the format we're moving forward with, whether we like it or not at this stage anyway. In the meantime, Queensland opens its border today to Greater Sydney. I'm very thankful for that because it meant that my mum could be here for Oscar's first birthday. So thank you, Anastasia Palaszczuk. But would you be confident booking a holiday interstate right now, even if the borders are open?
No.
If they can snap lockdown in a matter of 24 hours like that, are you willing to fork out for a trip anywhere?
A lot of people are, though.
Look, I've had some holidays planned and ready to book them, and then I've pulled back because I'm like, you know what, there are still cancellation fees. So if there's a COVID breakout there, you get a full 100% cancellation fee, then yes, I'd do it, but that's not being offered by all hotels.
Classic example, one of the people at the housewarming yesterday afternoon was Matthew Wolfrey, who people would see on this show regularly talking about entertainment subjects. Matt was there, he turned up and someone said, oh, you're about to head home at the end of this week, back home to WA to see the family. He said, yes, I've got a quarantine on arrival though, but it's worth it because I need to see my mum and dad and catch up. And then all of a sudden, phones started buzzing. Mark McGowan's holding a press conference and he's sitting there in the corner going, oh, 1 minute you're going home to see your mum and dad,
it's so
the next minute you don't know. So,
and that's the second time he's tried to get home too.
So I'm not doing it at the moment.
What about the Trans-Tasman bubble though? How do you feel about New Zealand?
I'm desperate to go.
I'm desperate to go too.
Bring it on.
You're going to go?
Let us in.
I'd love to go. But look, at the moment, I'm just playing it safe as far as planning things. I think it's different if you're on your own or if it's 1+1. But when you've got 3 kids, 6 and under,
that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to plan on the kids.
Absolutely. And also, I just want the bubble to work both ways because it doesn't work both ways at the moment. You've got to still quarantine going over and quarantine coming back if you're an Aussie, but the New Zealanders just have to do a number of tests.
Yeah.
So let's be fair. Come on, we want to go and play with the Kiwis.
It's a rather imbalanced relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you warn your friends against.
It's also, it is, but it's also, look at all those great people who are loading the empty esky in the car and doing a road trip locally, filling it up with produce from your regions. It's a good chance to
get on board. Now, Shelley and Ben stay with us when we come back. Forget picking up new appliances every year. The old household items that have stood the test of time.
And packed to the brim with drama. Why so many people now around the world are obsessed with Married at First Sight. Why wouldn't they be?
Well, part one of the Married at First Sight reunion aired last night, and boy, oh boy, did it deliver on drama and scandal.
Don't you two just like smoke the out of each other and what, now you're like cute and stuff?
Well, I've just walked through the door.
Okay, whatever, I was like...
There you go, Fordo and Shelley are still here to discuss this. Fordo, why are we still so invested in these stars, these reality stars?
I think it shocked people that there was drama last night.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
I think that's what it was.
looking for
I think
a light
they were
entertainment
tuning
show.
in, looking for a traditional marriage. And what they saw was anything but.
I know.
I was fast asleep last night, so I haven't seen it, but I noticed a lot of chatter about it this morning.
I devoured every minute of it.
Of course.
Don't you worry.
So tell us, Shelley, why are we so hooked and so invested in their relationship status, in everything about their lives?
We committed 3 months of our lives to these relationships. Like, we watch them just about every night.
With the third wheel.
We also like to see their, failings so that we can go, oh, my relationship's much better than that.
Makes us all feel so
at
much
least
better
I'm not
about
like
ourselves.
NASA and things like that. And I'm just loving that we get that almost like a little feeling of closure from these guys, because it was 2 years ago, and we get to see how they've grown or perhaps how they haven't grown.
Hang on a moment, with their walk-offs.
Yeah, they were walk-offs.
That was a shock.
NASA got called out as a troll. Cyrell threw wine at Jessica. It was all happening.
Interesting, we had Martha on the couch earlier talking about her wine throwing incident from the season and some regrets she might hold over that. So there's been a lot of growth, hasn't there?
I kind of like that. I mean, who would have thought that you would learn that throwing wine is not appropriate? But I kind of want to see that.
Are you saying it's not growth?
What's the lip filler situation?
Oh boy, there were a lot of
your
good things.
I think you'll
Isn't
find.
it?
No.
I'm a viewer.
None of your business.
Walk straight into that one, bro. Moving on, I'm going to help you here. They don't make appliances the way they used to. People are sharing the household items that stood the test of time, including a 100-year-old sewing machine, still goes, an 80-year-old fridge, and a 117-year-old coffee grinder. Oh, wow. Okay.
Boy.
Shelley, I don't know if I'd trust a fridge from the 40s. What about you?
I would be a little bit concerned about the electronics and making sure that nothing spoils, but other things I think it's appropriate. So my mum has handed down a baking dish, that you do like a roast chicken in, and that was from her mum to her to me. So this has got nearly, I think it's about 70 years worth of lovingly made roast, and I'm still using it, and I kind of like that hand-me-down sort of tradition. So this could be very similar.
I think it feels really good. I didn't know we were discussing this until coming here today. I've come straight from the radio studio, and so I brought my bag with me because I thought, I've got to show this off. Now, I found this in my mum's garage about 9 months ago, and I said, Mum, I'm going to use that. And she said, well, be careful. Because I don't want you to lose it. And I said, well, that was obviously yours when you were growing up. She went, no, that was your grandmother's when you were growing up. Because Mum's Veronica, so I saw V. McDermott, but it's VP McDermott, Vera Patricia, which was my grandmother, who's no longer with us. VP McDermott, 13 Waitangi Street, Gwynville, New South Wales, Wollongong. Fly Qantas to the world. So that's the little bag. And I go that every day.
Very cool.
And I love knowing that was Vera's. And then it was Mum's, and now it's mine, and who knows?
What are you carrying in that bag?
I have my little kit.
His lipstick.
You know what I mean? I have my
little kit.
I have my stuff. I've got my Velcro wallet that I know you guys really appreciate.
That wallet disturbs me.
I've got a ball. I always have a ball with me.
Always got a
I've got masks.
Yeah, great.
I'm not showing you the other stuff.
Good idea.
The old lip filler.
Good idea.
Thank you.
And that's none of our business.
Whatever you want to put in your face is fine. We're very positive on the bow. You want to put the bow in, let the bow know. You look so good though on camera, by the way.
Thank you.
It's really settled in.
Not too shiny or anything.
Bro
Love you, Benny. Thank you, Shelley. Have a great day. Coming up on Today Extra.